Hello, friends, and welcome back to Too Many Minis. My name's Ossie. I just got back from holiday. Yesterday was a big day for the Middle-earth strategy battle game with news of the Rise of Angmar supplement fully announced, all the models revealed. Then, pretty much out of nowhere, unexpected, they announced a new edition of the game. And at the end of that post, announced a new edition of the game, they have an image of the War of the Rohirrim. It's big stuff. It's all the news at once. After it's the feast after the famine. Let's dig into the ins and outs of it. First of all, the supplement. It's going to be an 112-page supplement covering the events of Angmar's founding, the Witch King's rise to power, and his wars with the Kingdom of Arnor. This book also includes an appendix section following the Chieftains of Dunedain before the final years of the Third Age. The Chieftains of the Dunedain. They showed off the warriors of Khan Doom. That was what was in the previous sort of teaser photo. 6 models, almost certainly Forge World resin. These kind of bone antlered helms, looking pretty wild. There's some pretty bad guys. We got their leader, Aldrak, Warlord of Khan Doom, callous and barbaric leader. He's got a battle frenzy rule, allowing him to declare a free heroic combat so long as he killed something in the previous turn. That's interesting. We've got Fraked, Vassal of the Witch King. Now, I love this model. Some people are saying it's a little bit AOS or something, or even a bit World of Warcraft. But I think it's a great model. A nice dramatic sculpt, and I'm here for it. He's not a wizard. He's a kind of spiritual leader, and he chants incantations of power. Then they showed off Aranarth, first chieftain of the Dunedain, the son of Arvedui. So he's the first. He's the first of the Dunedain to not be king. He's got expert shot and a special chieftain of the Dunedain special rule. I like the model. It's a classic heroic pose. The textures on the fabrics and stuff is a bit, boring looking. But I like his little vermbrace. And I'd love to see him with some different color schemes, see what he really looks like. The Shadow of Rudor. This looks like a kind of boss for Barrow Whites. That's a good model. That's a really solid model, and it'll look good next to some Barrow Whites. Then, maybe most unexpectedly, Burda, the Troll Chieftain, gets a new model. It says he has a new legendary legion that focuses around him and his unrelenting horde. And he's joined by some of his brethren, the Hill Trolls. The hills of Angmar, Rudor, and their other lands under the command of the Witch King are filled with more than just orcs and evil men. Hill Trolls can be also found roaming here. Unlike the cave trolls or Mordor trolls, these creatures possess a keener mind, and their hill troll intelligence, something also shared by Burder, allows them to combat their enemies more effectively. These are nice models. I'm a huge fan of the original Burder. Is this an improvement? It's just as good, I guess, and it's more modern. And it'll look good with these two new guys. Are they on 40mm bases or 50mm bases? And then they showed us some werewolves, a couple of werewolves with feral charge. These are nice models, I think. I'm probably going to be getting these just to have some werewolves in general. I hope they're on 40mm. I hope they're not vast. Because I feel like if they're changing into humans at some point in their normal week, the working week, they should be not too massive. Some resemblance to Gothmog's Warg, but the faces are pretty cool. I'll be picking them up. So that's the Rise of Angmar and all its releases, plus the Arnor stuff we've already seen, which I'll flash up here, and a bit of Angmar stuff as well, wasn't there? And even the Gondor hero. So there's a lot coming. This is the biggest wave of models we've had in one hit at least since the Rohan supplement, if not since the last Hobbit film. It's really a lot all at once. So bravo, Middle-earth team, for that. Now, getting on to the surprise, the big surprise. Their post said, if you thought that was the biggest news of the year, you ain't seen nothing yet. Today we can reveal that something special for the Middle-earth strategy battle game is just around the corner. 6 years after the release of the Pelennor Fields, a whole new edition of the game is galloping towards us. It's a very exciting time for Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit fans who can look forward to refreshed and updated rules for the game and their armies. There'll be a shiny new rules manual, as well as new supplements for the armies of the Lord of the Rings and the armies of the Hobbit, each of which will contain the rules for the miniatures from the respective movie trilogies. Every profile has been reworked so that units and characters' actions and on-screen presence are even better represented on the tabletop, and your adventures in Middle-earth feel exactly as they should. We'll have loads more to share in the coming weeks, so stay tuned to Warhammer Community for all the latest updates. What else does the future hold for Middle-earth? Well, we couldn't possibly speculate. And then it has this picture of the logo from The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, the upcoming film directed by Kenji Kamiyama. It's a New Line Warner Brothers film, animated by Solar Entertainment from Japan. Screenplay by Phoebe Gittins and Artie Papageorgiou. It's produced by Philippa Boyens, amongst others. And it's got Brian Cox as Helm Hammerhand, and Miranda Otto reprising her Eowyn role, I think, in a narrator. Big kettle of fish, right? Where to start? Are these two different things? We're getting a new edition, and they're doing something to tie in with the War of the Rohirrim. I don't think so. I think, judging by the 3 Lord of the Rings films, the 3 Hobbit films, as was intended at least, we've got to be looking at a new starter set. Rohan versus Dunlendings, that's what's in the movie. And surely it's got to come out to coincide with the movie, which comes out around about the 13th of December of this year. Some people saying, couldn't it be the War of the Rohirrim comes out this year and then a new edition comes out next year, or vice versa? I think it's got to be one thing. The reason to do the new edition is to time with the film. The film offers new players, new eyes on the game, and the right thing to do surely is to do a War of the Rohirrim starter set and a range from there on. Probably just Rohan versus Dunlendings. Certainly all plastic, all new. It's got to be. There's no way they're packaging 20-year-old Peter Jackson Rohan riders with brand new Solar Entertainment Helm Hammerhand. I don't see it. It's got to be an all new plastic box, surely. It wouldn't necessarily have to be a 2 armies clash kind of thing. It could be more of a character-driven narrative box, like we had with the Escape from Goblin Town back with the first Hobbit film. So you could see more of the characters in there and less troops. But that's surely got to be what's coming. And some people saying, oh, it's too soon, it must be next year, blah, blah. I don't see it. Games Workshop don't work that far. If apart from the old world, everything they ever do is like, it's coming soon. Why are these two things at once? Well, we've got to assume that this Angmar supplement was meant to be out last year, ages ago. And so it's a little bit of a hard sell saying here's a new supplement coming, and then it's a new edition. That's tough. They're saying there's going to be new rules. I'm not worried about the new rules. The team that works on Middle-earth is brilliant. They're the best custodians of the game. They're all the people involved are huge fans of the game and have been for decades, so I'm not worried about them messing up the game, or some people sort of doom mongering and be like, oh, look what happened to 40k AOS, yada yada. I'm not concerned. They're going to look after the game. A couple of the team have been on Facebook, dropped a couple of comments here and there saying, everything can be improved, and iron out creases and stuff. There's various things I'd love to see. I'd love to see, Gandalf be one of the most important figures in the game. I'd love to see the Fellowship buffed. I really like the line in this. Every profile has been reworked so that units and characters' actions and on-screen presence are even better represented on the tabletop. That's what I want to see. I want to see a game where you want to bring out Gandalf, Saruman, you want to bring out Aragorn. The heroic characters from the story are the heroic characters, not like, oh, the best character is Suladan or the Bolg, as or whatever. I guess they're big in the films, but whatever. You know what I mean? I'm keen on that, and I think that's hard when the game's been going on for X amount of time. Have a bit of a reset. I think that's a good thing. My immediate concern was, oh god, have I got to buy all of the narrative scenarios again? Because I dream of playing through, the whole Quest of the Ring Bearer and all that stuff, the whole Fellowship of the Ring campaign, all the campaigns. Love it. I'd be gutted if they didn't work. The lovely books I've got behind me didn't work with the new system. My guess is they will, because I don't see them revisiting all of those areas of Middle-earth for further supplements again this edition. Can't see it. Maybe, but I think they'll probably try and make it so that those narrative scenarios still work, because we've got such good versions of them. Another possible thing is that the War of the Rohirrim release isn't the Middle-earth strategy battle game as we know it. It could be a smaller kind of kill team or Warcry style skirmish game, or a larger game a bit like War of the Ring, and they would be cross-compatible, but they aren't. The new edition of MESBG isn't the same as the boxed game War of the Rohirrim. That's possible. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be new iteration of MESBG, branded War of the Rohirrim for the starter set, and carrying on with it. One worry that I might have is that this only mentions stuff about the films and about they will contain the rules for the miniatures from the respective movie trilogies. I would be concerned if there was non-movie stuff if the non-movie stuff was being cut from the game. The range is vast. The total stat lines is vast. I'm sympathetic to that, but because we've got to this point now with nothing really cut from the game after 22 years, 23 years, it would be a shame to lose that stuff. Big shame. So I hope that's just the movie wording to go along with the movie announcement, and that the book stuff stays in there. I'm fairly certain that the book stuff will be staying in there, because they're just releasing an Angmar supplement which has got nothing whatsoever to do with the movies. So those are all the kind of concerns things, but I'm really excited. I want to see those top heroes buffed. I would like to see a bigger spread of fight value so that there's more differentiation there. I would like to see Glorfindel as the big powerful dude that he should be. I'm hoping that Legendary Legions and the Alliance Matrix and all that is neatened up, and I don't know, maybe a kind of 40k detachments, or to give you options, themed options within a faction, but not necessarily the sort of static lists that Legendary Legions can lead to, where people are picking the same thing always. I don't care that much. Like, I want to see cool stuff being played, and I think they're gonna deliver on that, no problem. Probably I'm most excited about new models, and I'm not a big Angmar Arnold fan. I really like the War of the Ring era, but these are good models. These are good models. I think they're all good models. There's nothing here I don't like. I'll definitely be picking up werewolves, I think, to have as werewolf models. If I do some Angmar, I've got like no Angmar. I've got Barrow Whites from back when they weren't in Angmar, and from previous edition, and Deadmar Spectres back when they were in the Mordor list. Could I do some Angmar? Maybe, but it's not sort of like top of my list of things to do. But there's an awful lot of people super excited about this force. Some people saying, "Oh, what's the point in buying the new book if it's going to be invalidated in a couple of months?" Maybe. I mean, the scenarios and stuff, very important to me. I think I'll probably buy the book anyway, even though it's not my war. Yeah, I think these profiles should, by the sounds of it, be rolled into Armies Lord of the Rings, although they're closer to The Hobbit in time period, but you know what I mean. The appendices of Lord of the Rings. The last starter box, the Battle of Osgiliath, was super good, right, with the terrain and everything. Imagine what a new one would be like, because like these Dunlendings seem to have a Mumak in the movie, and they're pretty wild looking, and there's some cool spooky stuff in some of the images from the upcoming movie. Little reassuring note from one of the team on social media saying the new minis will fit in with the current range. That the movie is an anime, right? But they're sort of intimating that they're going to be a consistent style with the Games Workshop Middle-earth range. So it's not going to be like an anime range that doesn't blend in with the rest of the stuff. I'm super stoked, because it just means like the game is being supported. It's getting a lot of love. We might get plastic troops in a box. Imagine. We'll get some new players coming in from the movie, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know how well this movie's going to... Nobody knows how well this movie's going to do. What's the appetite for Lord of the Rings like? It's a long time later. The Hobbit films were middling reception, but it's been a while anyway. How's this movie going to do? We just don't know. how the movie's going to do. How will that translate to new players? Will it attract young people in the way that the really young people in the way that Lord of the Rings did, or is it just going to be a movie for kind of blokes? We don't know any of that, but I think they're right to get on it because it's the same world, like the Rohan scenery kit is going to work with this. Maybe they'll put the Rohan scenery kit in a launch box or something. You know what I mean? It makes perfect sense to me, and they have the working relationships with pretty much everyone involved. Weta's involved with this movie. It makes a lot of sense. As a timeline for announcing it to releasing it, if it follows the pattern of the previous movies, the previous movie game releases, I think we could expect to see it in November, 2 to 4 weeks ahead of the movie coming out. I think we'll be getting a lot of updates between now and then. I think this Angmar stuff's all dropping. The Angmar stuff all dropping at once, announcing it all at once, and then getting it going. It makes sense, and I think this Angmar release really was surely meant to be a year ago, and so yeah, it's going to feel a bit squeezed, but there's going to be great models and rules that we can use for the games going forward. So it's good stuff for all the Angmar Arnold players out there. When all this news was leaking through, I was actually when the Angmar release stuff was coming through on Warhammer Community, I was actually standing in a Funtainment games shop in Berlin, marveling at their Games Workshop range and how much stuff they have, and just generally it was a really slick shop. Not the best game shop I visited in Berlin. I thought, what's it called? Battle Bunker Berlin. I can't remember what it's called. The other shop was awesome, outstanding, but very different. It was like all little small companies and little small ranges and bits and hobby tools and stuff. Whereas Funtainment was like the big company, huge board game range, huge Games Workshop range, tons of Asmodee stuff. Like all of ranges of things, you know what I mean? And loads of old stock, which was out. Like they had like both the Red Gobbo Christmas models that have been out of print for years. And you know what I mean? Like they just had tons of stuff. It was a bit of a treasure trove. Didn't buy anything. I was being very restrained. But I was standing in this shop, like on WhatsApp, on Warhammer Community, on my Discord, being like, whoa, look at this. Oh, wow, look at this. So it was a funny last day of my holiday. Very happy to be back. Going to get to finishing off my Skaven Spearhead so I can play some AOS. But this is really kind of this announcement of the new edition has kind of lit a fire under me from a Middle Earth perspective. And weirdly, the thing that it makes me want to paint is the Get Off the Road diorama, which I ordered when it came out. When we were all disappointed that there wasn't more announced at Warhammer Fest 2023. But it's just sat in the box, and I think now is the time when I'm going to be doing something with it, and like going back to the beginning, something Fellowship of the Ring, and it makes sense to me somehow. I really want to know what everyone else is thinking about this. Some real mixed chat. Like I'm looking at Facebook, and people are like complaining like hell. But on our local WhatsApp in London, where we've got 2,500 people, was a lot of enthusiasm. So people really excited, surprised. Thinking about the possibilities, what could we be getting here? I think it's made everyone more interested in this War of the Rohirrim film as well. I mean, I certainly like the Hobbit range from Middle-earth strategy battle game more than I like the Hobbit films as films. So in some ways, regardless of how good the film is as a film, there's how good is it as source material for this game that we love. So let me know your takes on it. Join the Discord. It's a free Discord with just some good chat going on over there with good people. Cover all sorts of games. We just talk about whatever we're doing. And I've got a lot of stuff to work on over the next few weeks. And hopefully this Angmar supplement is coming pretty soon. I expect we can see it pretty soon. That would be my guess. Because I think they would want this gap between it and the new edition to be as big as it can. Are you going to be knocking up an all Hill Troll Legendary Legion? Are you excited for the new Dunedain guy? They've got that thing where they've spotted in one model for a couple of armies. We've got the new Gondorian, we've got the new Dunedain, then we've got a lot of Angmar stuff and a bit of Arnor stuff. From what we can see here, I think it's a really solid supplement. So bring it on. And nice to see you all again. good to be back. I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching, and bye.